Hey guys, I'm Ellie. How's it going? So like I said last week, there was no vlogs and there was no uploads because I was going away on a frisbee tournament, and so I just didn't have time between trainings to go out and film stuff and then edit and put it up. But I'm back now, and as you can probably hear from my voice, I've had a very big weekend. I've been away in Manila in the Philippines at the Asia Oceania Ultimate and Guts Clubs Championships, which was a 3-day Ultimate Frisbee and Guts tournament. And as you can probably tell by the name, it was teams from all across Asia, as well as Australia and New Zealand. And it was a really good weekend. It was a really good tournament, very big. Lots of teams. I think there was there was like 17 countries or something. That sounds like a lot, maybe not. And there was 11 teams. I was playing for the Hong Kong women's team, Black Kites. There was 11 teams in the women's competition. I think they said there was 26 teams in men's and 22 in mixed. I think. I may have some of the numbers around the wrong way. And then there was the Guts, which I think they had 5 or 6 teams playing Guts. Yeah, it was a very big weekend. So across the 3 days of play, we had, I think, 6 or 7 games across the days, and they're 75-minute games in glorious Manila heat. So very exhausting. And we had quite a small team because Black Kites is a development squad. This is the first year they've run Black Kites, and I think this was either the 2nd or 3rd tournament for the club, and I don't think they had the same line. I think a lot of the line was new compared to the past few tournaments because people are, injured or unavailable depending on the time of the year. And we never really got a chance to have a full training with just the team or the entire team at one training. It was this was purely a weekend for the team to learn to play together, for the club to see what we can do to start the foundations for building up the team to be more competitive in future competitions, which I think is really fantastic. Like, that is a huge thing. I think this was the first year for a lot of clubs across Asia to have women's only teams and to have women's only competitions. So the fact that we're pushing for that, gender representation is amazing. It's a really cool thing. I won't go into too much about how the team did at the tournament. Just very quickly, we didn't win any games, which is a shame, but our first game we lost 15-0, and our last game was 15-5, and that was a very tightly contested game. Like, it was a really good spirited game. The whole weekend we managed to keep good spirit, except for a handful of points. I think we got a bit done in by the heat and whatnot. But as we were saying, we had a 500% improvement rating from the first game where it was 0 to the last game, which was 5, and I think 5 was our record across the weekend. One thing about the tournament was that there's a lot of teams from Melbourne, which, as you know, that's my hometown, and a lot of these teams are teams that I used to play against or play with or train with. Or one of the men's team, there was a Haas team, Melbourne Juggernaut there, and the guys that kind of started Haas are the guys that taught me how to play frisbee like 10 years ago. So to be at the same international tournament as their top team, sadly the guys that taught me to play weren't able to be there because they'd gotten injured or couldn't get out of work at last minute. But to see them there and to, you know, think about how things change and stuff, was really, really cool. It was really nice to see that, to think about that. And some of the women's teams, like there was Bar House from Melbourne as well, and that's a team that I used to play against, and there's a number of girls in that team that I used to play with back when I first started playing women's, which was when I played with Honey back in Melbourne. And it's a very, very different team, between Black Kites and Honey, because when I joined Honey, I think had already been around for 6 or 7 years and had largely the same line for 6 and 7 years. And some of those girls, women, I should say women, they weren't girls, had done numerous world campaigns, and even the coach had done numerous world campaigns. So the wealth of knowledge and experience in that team walking into it for the first time was a totally different beast to walk into a team that's all development and you know, everyone's kind of learning to play single-gendered ultimate for the first time, because it's the playing style is very different between mixed and single-gendered. But like it was I just had kind of a nice time catching up with friends and getting cuddles, because that's always nice. But also just thinking about my own kind of progress through the sport. And you know, I started with Honey. I played with Honey because when I was playing mix, I tore my ACL. Well, I partially tore my ACL, I should be accurate. Partially tore my ACL. And which, for those that aren't big on muscle groups, it's the major stability muscle that goes through your thigh. And without that, you can't really walk very well. So I tore that playing, and then I didn't think it was anything too serious, so I just kept playing on it, and I probably did more damage to it playing on it than I did actually tearing it in the first place. So when I tore it, I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. I had to have a full leg brace, and I was on crutches and mainly bed rest, even not even walking around. So I knew to rehabilitate myself and, you know, to get myself out of the mindset of being scared of injuring myself again, I needed a challenge. I needed something to push me. Friends of mine were already playing for Honey, and so I joined Honey, and I just said straight out to the captains, I'm like, this is my first time playing single-gendered. I've been playing, I think at that stage I've been playing for 4 or 5 years, and I said to them, I'm coming off an injury. I'm still rehabilitating the injury. I'm just learning to run again. I'm just getting strong enough to walk again even. So I want this to help me, encourage me to get stronger and push myself through. And the girls were fantastic about it. Like I remember Stefa, she had broken her hand, and so she'd gone through a similar thing of, you know, trying to play sport after an injury. And I'm not sure if she broke her hand at a Worlds campaign or she broke her hand before Worlds, but still, either way, that's a huge thing to do and to come back from. So for me, she was a huge you know, influence and a huge source of encouragement to do single-gendered sport and to push myself to rebuild, to come back from an injury and to be strong enough to play again. So that was how I started single gender, and that was, what, that would have been 5 years ago when I first did that. And I only played 1.5 seasons with Honey. And a season in Australia is about, I think the space of 6 months is one season. So, yeah, so I trained with them for a long time and played with them for quite a while and did 1.5 full campaigns with them. And now I'm coming, and since then I've only done mix. I haven't really gone back to women's. Not for any particular reason, just mix, for me, mix is more fun. I like the pacing and style of mix more than single gendered. But single gendered is definitely the best thing for development. So when I got here to Hong Kong and I started meeting a lot of the players, and they started telling me about the fact they had single gendered going, I really wanted to try it, to just push myself to get... I've gotten very, very lazy with my frisbee, I realised, and it's not a good thing. You don't want to be lazy with your hobby and your own sport. Well, I'm really tanned. Sorry, distracted. And I realised playing that, I've been playing ultimate frisbee for nearly 10 years now. It's coming very close to 10 years since I started playing. And I honestly don't play like I've been playing for 10 years, because I get very lazy with the disc, I get very complacent with the disc, and I tend to allow other players to do a lot more on the field, because I feel like, kind of too many cooks in the kitchen kind of thing. I'm often a new person on a team, so I kind of feel like I don't want to step on other people's toes, which is good and bad. It's good in the sense that, I am respectful of other players. It's bad in the sense that I then leave a lot of things to other players to do instead of carrying my own weight on the team. So selfish reasons for joining the Hong Kong development women's team was to try and get myself back into a sense of, I'm actually a decent player. I'm actually a player that can be a great asset for a team, as opposed to just, a bit of a guest star on the line. I don't think I fully utilised that and realised that this weekend, which I am disappointed about. I did try, and I got a couple of really good plays in, and especially in that last game against Barhouse, when things started to feel really familiar. Like, I looked up and there's a couple of people on the team that I'm like, I used to train with her, I know exactly how she plays, I can take her. And I really felt in that last game I was playing like how I know I can play. I was getting closer to how I know, how I know when my limits are being pushed to. But one game out of 6 and 7 isn't the greatest thing, and so I am disappointed in that. I'm disappointed in myself for that. I'm also very disappointed how uneven my tan is, just as a side note. You can't see it, but the colour of my legs and my arms is very distinctly different. Sorry, distracted. But disappointment aside, I hope I was something useful for the team, and I hope I was able to at least leave a positive impression on my teammates that they do want to play with me again. I'm pretty sure I did, but just to make sure, that's what my hope is, vocalizing that. So yeah, that's where I've been. I was filming while I was there, so I've got various footage. Not so much the last day, because last day was a little bit hectic, but I've got plenty of footage across the tournament of what was happening and such, and a bit of talking with some of the girls. So I will try and get a video up by Thursday. I think will be the video will go up. But for now, this is a little bit of a vlog for you guys. And yeah, I'm back. I'm a little bit bruised. I'm very, very tanned. My mouth is sunburnt. And I've had a really good weekend. So yeah. After this week, I should be back to normal kind of, weekly uploads and stuff. So sorry for the silence last week. Looking forward to new stuff this week. And let's go Black Kites. Bye guys.